credit rating downgrade looms. Today is scheduled for rating agency Moody's to make a possible rating change, although of course it's not obliged to do anything. Moody's is the only one of the three major rating agencies that still rate South Africa's debt as investment grade. A downgrade into so-called junk status could mean that some government and foreign investors will be barred from buying South African bonds, which are used by government to raise money. So there could be a forced outflow of investment dollars. That's the big concern. Since 2017, South Africa has been rated below investment grade junk by other rating agencies, Standard & Poor and Fitch. Now, after President Cyril Ramaphosa's first State of the Nation address last year, Moody's upgraded its outlook from negative to stable, meaning we were no longer even on a watch for a downgrade. Since then, however, there has been another load shedding crisis, other issues affecting growth and job prospects in South Africa. To discuss, we're now joined via Skype by the Chief Economist at Pan-African Investment and Research Services, Iraj Abedian. Iraj, thank you for being with us tonight. What do you think Moody's will do first up?
I think all considered, my prediction is that Moody's will downgrade the prospects from stable to negative. And that's in recognition of the fact that our energy platform is not stable. Our Eskom, which is the only source of our energy, is totally indebted, financially broke, organizationally problematic. And we have an election coming. We don't know where the next cabinet and where the next policy directions would be. Therefore, it is not sufficient evidence for a junk grade downgrade, but there is enough technical information to downgrade the prospects for the economic growth from a stable to negative.
Okay, so you're talking about the outlook changing to negative. How long then before we could see the possible downgrade? Because it does mean we're on a watch then for a downgrade.
Absolutely. And then the next step for the rating agencies would be after the elections have come and gone, after the president is sworn in, the new cabinet is in place, and the turnaround of the economy is in terms of economic policy, in terms of the type of government interventions, policy changes, etc., are all outlined in terms of which, based on facts of policy, facts of who is the ministers in charge, the rating agencies can then make a determination, and I guess that, in my view, will be June, July, after the elections.
Right. There's been hysteria before, actually, about downgrades, and then they came from the other two rating agencies, but we weathered the storm. Now again, that concern that the third downgrade will be most significant because of these international bond boards. What do you think? Could we afford a third downgrade, or could that be the camel or the rod even that broke the camel's back?
Yeah, I think it will be a very serious consequence for the economy. Tens of billions of dollars would have to go out of the country and very little coming in for a long while. Evidence in terms of all contemporary economic statistics, all countries that were junk graded run into a period of 3 to 5 years of recession. Countries like Brazil, some like South Korea came out of it quicker, but some like Argentina never got out of it. So, and by never I mean 40 years, they're struggling with it. So the previous downgrades that we've had have not junk graded our international credit rating. We have now at the moment split rating, which means bondholders can still invest in the country. But if we get by the third Moody's, by the third agency and the remaining Moody's downgrading us, then we will be totally junk graded, and that will be a completely different ballgame.
I guess the idea has been that sometimes investors actually ignore these credit ratings, but the big funds, like you say, have these rules, which means they cannot invest once you've got an across-the-board junk status. There's talk, Iraj, of $10 billion leaving the country, or 150 billion rand. What does that really mean for the economy?
For the economy means the contraction in serious contraction in the credit availability. It means government finances, first and foremost, will be contracted because they cannot borrow overseas. They have to shift that to the local economy. And as they shift and they mop up whatever surplus in the credit market, the rest of the economy, meaning enterprises, both big and small and medium, will have so much less access to credit, and the cost of credit will go up. So it's a very severe constraints on the economy, and we mustn't in this process confuse investment with the capital markets. Investors may still come, but that would be very, very limited because very few investments can handle a total equity investment. They require access to credit, and the local capital market is not large enough to take care of government shortfall, SOE shortfall, as well as big corporates, and leave enough for growth. And therefore, we will run into a serious hike in interest rates, lack of credit availability, and contraction in the economic activity.
The Reserve Bank governor has been saying our banks could in fact weather the storm, sort of saying maybe the broader economy will be able to handle this, but you're talking about something very serious for us all.
Absolutely. The banks will be able to manage it, which means their balance sheet is strong. They don't have overexposure to the poor performing corporates, bearing in mind that most South African corporates are relatively cash flush. However, 60% of our working households are over indebted. We have our SOEs who are all bankrupt and live on hand to mouth by borrowing. SABC can't pay for itself without borrowing, and so it goes. That is where it will begin to hurt the economy. It will mean that all the marginal activities will be denied any access to credit, and therefore they'll start contracting, job shedding, and running the economy into a recession.
All right, so hopefully we definitely avoid this downgrade. Final question, if it comes, so hopefully it doesn't come, if it comes, would it be mainly Eskom's fault, Iraj?
Not at all. Eskom will be a major player, but ultimately it would be the government's fault of not having had enough preemptive actions to maintain economic growth and diversify energy sources, come up with a credible and sustainable energy policy that we are not dependent on Eskom. But there are other contributors to this downfall, most importantly, the public sector.
All right, thank you very much, Chief Economist at Pan-African Investment and Research Services, Iraj Abedian. So Moody's isn't obliged to make a credit rating change, but it is scheduled, if there is one, to do it today. We did speak to Moody's. They're saying they cannot comment on any potential rating action. Some expecting that announcement if it comes later this evening.